So hi guys, my name is Raj and welcome to the channel What's Happening Express. So the day has finally arrived. Most of the people who know me very closely, they must be knowing that I was planning for something big, and today is the big day for me. So in front of me you can see Professor Asim K. Duttaroy, Doctor Professor Asim K. Duttaroy, the man himself, the ocean of knowledge is right in front of you. I'm just gonna brief you about him. He's an Indian American born scientist, medical scientist, currently working as a professor, faculty of medicine in the University of Oslo, Norway. And you know very well the scientist, the status. I was totally was nervous to talk to him. So I'm gonna introduce Professor and Dr. Asim K. Duttaroy in front of the world. So viewers, please watch this video and gain lots of knowledge because I have been planning for this video for a long, long time. And we are gonna have some conversations also. So Doctor, welcome to it.
Okay, thank you, Raj, and I'm very pleased to join you. And hopefully, this interview will be very helpful and learning for each other, and also the audience who will be listening. And I'm very happy to join you, and I wish you all the best. Please start.
It's a privilege, sir. It's an honor to me for being here with you, sir, because I'm from India and you live in Norway, so the connections and all the status, sir. And I'm very much honored. I'm very much happy to be here, sir, with you, truly, sir.
That's very kind of you, and I'm also very happy to talk to you. Young people like you are interested in science and like to elevate the nation, because the more scientific we are as a nation, we will be doing much better in the world arena, because science, the way it is, go forward for a whole nation. And especially last 1.5 years, in the light of this COVID pandemic, we need more science and more understanding of the disease and virus itself, so that whatever resource we have as a country, and we should be able to cope with it and I will get rid of this sort of pandemic and try to have a normal life in future or near future, that I'm sure it will happen. So.
Okay, sir. Sir, would you like to say something about you to the viewers?
Okay, I'm currently I'm originally from Bengal, the village in a remote village in Bengal, 75 kilometers from Calcutta. I studied in a village, then I came to Calcutta, then I went to States. I had a lot of journeys, and then I studied in the university, and I did my postgraduate medical and PhD and Doctor of Sciences there. And then I moved to research, and I was doing research mostly. I have been in cardiovascular and fetal development, and it's very important in terms of the cardiovascular disease is one of the killer in the world, and of course another is the fetal brain development, and brain is very important for the nation to build up, and for civil society, etc. And for that reason, we are very much interested to see what are the factors that determines the good IQ of the babies and contribution of the mother, society, epigenome, gene, etc. So we're looking at these two aspects in my lab and still going on. And I have contributed in terms of this research, publication, patents, books, etc., etc.
Yes, sir. Your contribution to the world of science is enormous, sir. More than 270 research papers and lots of patents on your name. How does it feel, sir, coming from a small town in India and right now living in Norway and doing the work which is totally helping the humanity?
Yes, I think the journey, the end point is not important. When you journey on a road, it's always interesting to see the both sides of the road, how it is impacting. We're at the end of the road. End of the road, we don't know. So I see life that way. That I'm learning from everything and trying to rationalize and also see the problems the humanity facing and try with little contribution to understand the processes of the nature, Mother Nature, and try to bring it to the people and the scientific community, that what are the problems and what we should do, we should not do. Because the most important problem these days is a healthy aging. And healthy aging means you have to understand your body, your what do you call it, environment, and also what you eat, etc., in order to age very healthily, because prolonging old age is not good enough. You have to prolong the youth. Then it is called healthy aging. And of course, I think the world is going in that direction. But the problem is that if old people be getting disease and all this, then it will become a liability. Where the medicine is free, there's a lot of taxation needed to continue this thing. So our idea is to make sure we give a proper health care, not the disease care. So my research is mostly geared to prevent the disease and allow the healthy aging of the people, and start from the very beginning at the womb that we are doing now.
It's totally amazing, sir. Seriously, because when I went to your page, I was very much confused where to start and where to end. Because whatever the research and whatever the thing you are doing, sir, it is totally, totally helping the humanity, and you are taking us far, far, far ahead in terms of science and technology, sir. So I'm very much thank you so much for all the efforts that you put here, sir. Thank
Well,
you so much for this.
thank you very much. So
So I have been working on some questions, sir, since the pandemic came into our life, and nobody was prepared for it. Honestly speaking, nobody, not even a single government, I think. So I have some questions, and when I read some articles in newspaper, that is different. And we are talking to someone like you that has having an ocean of knowledge. It feels different, and it is totally inspiring me in a way that I can't express in words. Seriously. So, with your permission, do I have the permission to ask some questions to you?
yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So, sir, what do you think? Where do we stand in terms of science and technology in dealing with any pandemic?
Yes, that is a very good question, because you see, the infection and epidemic is not a new thing. It has happening last 30 years, and but the question of pandemic is a very new to us and this generation. But if you look at the Ebola virus epidemic and SARS virus epidemic that happens in 2003, and people are talking about that we will someday we'll have a pandemic, and that we'll talk this later, that why this is today is like that. But of course, research and innovation system must be responding to the new challenges, the unseen challenges. I think at the moment we can happily say that the development of the vaccine is one of the challenges made, because if you go by traditional vaccine preparation, it will take long time. But going for mRNA vaccine, it actually took down so much time and shortcut system. The only time it took because of the trial that you cannot change much, because you have to give this vaccine and wait for the reactions and look for the indices that is working or not. And then you have a different age groups, and then you have a disease people and comorbidity, etc. And it is not easy. And considering all these things, and considering the virus itself and the infectivity, I think the research and innovation system works very well. And also another development happened is the digital development, and digitization of the system actually help us to stop this pandemic in a bigger way. And still we are seeing up and down, first wave, second wave, that we'll discuss later on. But at the moment, in the short term, I think the answer is that we are doing so good at the moment, although medicine is not developed yet. It takes time. But in terms of vaccine, in terms of digitization, understanding of the virus, I think this government, private and public health system, and depending on the logistics we have, and every country has different logistics systems. If you consider all this, I'm quite happy that it is what we are today now at this stage. We are doing okay.
So, adding one thing into that, is this a coincidence or something like that? Previous pandemic was Spanish flu in the year 1919 and 2020, right?
Yeah.
And after a century, at the same time, another pandemic came that totally shocked the world into a manner which we haven't imagined.
Yeah, there is a gap in between there, because as I said, last 30 years we have some epidemic like Ebola and also SARS, and in 2003, and people like Bill Gates, etc., they're warning us that some pandemic will come, and pandemic only happens if you have a host. The virus is
Yeah.
there, infectivity is there, but if you provide the host, that will be there. But in terms of smallpox, Ebola, and others, the somehow it is epidemic, it is localized to certain place, so there is no pandemic. But with this COVID-19, this is not working that way, because somehow, because of travel, because of first world is involved, and world like China is involved, so it has gone to everywhere, and symptom is so close to other existing cold virus symptom is difficult to differentiate. And also, if you look at the spread, it is mostly spreading asymptomatically, and that they are the most effective spreader. That's why the problem is like that. But still, another problem was, in a way, there is no medicine for any viral infection. We have antibiotic for bacteria. Only way you can stop the viral infection uh, by trying to improve your immune system. That will come later on. I think your last question has that,
Yes, yes.
but not now. So, considering these things, that pandemic was quite unimagined. But because of this situation, it has happened.
Okay, sir. So that's a very important information that you shared with us, and I think most of the people would agree with whatever the words that you just told. So another question is that I'm not going to ask what will be the next pandemic. It's just if there will be a next pandemic, when it will be a next pandemic, and how we are building strategies to contain that thing.
Yeah, that of course, luck is not a strategy. We have to prepare for it. That means we have to prepare for unknown and things like that. And also, we know now very well that, if I go back to virus itself, we have a virus for human, for animal, for plant, and they should not overlap each other. That means the animal virus should not infect us. But the problem is that there are 500,000 virus, animal virus. They have a potential to infect us, and the impact we don't know, because when the virus attack us, they need some kind of receptor on the tissue, and they mutate it such a way so they can get into our body. And they depends on the infectivity, how they work, and that can create a damage. So there is a possibility of future pandemic, definitely, and it could be zoonotic, means it can be animal to human and like that, and that is possible. For that, we have to make sure that the experience that we got from COVID-19, the logistics should be much more improved, and we should be much careful about our own hygiene, because, as I said, the end of the day, it is your immunity that protect us from viral infection. But because that our body, 43% cell is ours, 57% cell from virus and bacteria. So we are a hybrid kind of entity. We are not human being as such. So that means our job, gene is given by the virus, and the brain has some genes from virus, and all, as I said, 57% we are from different origin, is nothing with human. So that means, and they are very good for us. Most 99% they are good for us. On our skin, on our nostril, wherever it is, they protect us from infection, pathogenic.
Sir, it's this is the first time I got to know that we are only having 44% of cells of only ours,
Yeah.
and
And it is very important. And another thing is very important, because we'll come later on, because how we can prepare from the next pandemic. As I mentioned, the viral pandemic, to stop it, we have to, immunity should be very strong. You can have it naturally or by vaccination. But by vaccination, it takes time, because you have to understand the viral structure, then you have to isolate some and produce antibody, then, or my mRNA, then you do it. But that takes time, and it's not possible to give everybody vaccine. It takes long time. So important thing is your own system to understand how it works. Look, for example, from the very beginning, we get when we come out from the mother, we get 5 ml of bacteria from the mother tissue body, and that comes to our mouth, and it colonizes the intestine, large intestine, and this is the bacteria that is very helpful to us. This is the first gift of the mother that we get from mother, but we don't get it if we come out cesarean way, because that is not normal, and that's why that sort of procedure is not recommended in Western world, because they saw the problem with the series of cesarean babies. So, and these bacteria colonize us, and they produce so many things in our body helpful to us to keep to stop the cancer happening, to keep the blood pressure protected, cardiovascular disease, mental, everything. We now know it is very important, even the skin. So these are sort of things are very important, and they also produce some molecules which are giving us immunity. So it's very important, when you have pandemic, you should have that sort of bacteria in the intestine, apart from other things. So this is the first thing, and second thing is that the question was that we have to understand the virus. That means what sort of is there any changes going on in the virus? Because when the virus is in our body, they change the structure because of replication. It's too much replication, and doing that they do mistake, and that could be bad or good. Bad in the sense they can mutate their body in such a way they don't recognize our body. They will die down because they need a host to survive. And it is also possible they will mutate it such a way they will infect us much more vigorously. That is happening delta virus or eta virus or something like that. And mutation happens only if you have a host. If virus does not have a host, no mutation. That's why it's very important in India and other countries, the vaccination or the strong immunity.
Sir, in a very layman language, I just want to share my feelings that after going through all those details, like the virus is having lots of mutations. I was wondering that there is some kind of supercomputer that is working behind the virus, like everything calculative and going through all those aspects.
Yes, the virus is a very clever entity because we don't know yet what is virus. Some people say it is a remnant of the evolution, and it is moving from one cell to others, and doing that they lose. That in a living system, to multiply, they have a protein synthesis machineries. They have a lipid things, and they make a capsules, and inside the genome is there, and that is virus. And when they go to our body system in the cell, they try to replicate, and they hijack the protein synthesizing machineries of our cell, in the case lung cells in COVID situation, and they produce thousands of virus, and then they come out and then go act like other one. So the problem is that when we have an immune system, two types. One is called innate immune system, other is adaptive immune system. Innate immune system means in-at. When we are born, we get that immune system. That is from skin to cells, a lot of things. It's a diverse soldier system. So when anything comes to our body, some cell will sense it, and they try to kill it. And in doing that, they will raise your body temperature, they will raise your inflammation, etc., to kill it. But if they don't kill it, then is a problem. Then the virus will multiply, etc., will do. But in the process of killing it, if the tissue that which cells is infected, and if it sees that it cannot do anything, then it try to degrade the bacteria and put a single or little bit pieces of the bacteria on its surface, on the cell surface of our own cells. And then it gives a signal to our body system. Hi, I'm affected. I cannot do more. And it is there, kill me. It is asking for suicide. And then we have a system called natural killer cells and others. They will go there and kill it. And this same thing should work for the cancer patient, because cancer and tumor are not our own. So our tissue is struggling with it to stop the cancers. If it does not do that, then it takes the tissue from or some of the fraction from the tumor, and put on the surface of that cell. And so any infected or tumor cells should be killed by our own immune system. And that nature, then we shouldn't have a cancer. This should happen, but it is the competition that is a problem. So when this virus came into this and our tissue cannot fight anymore, then they send the signals, then a lot of things happens. That called adaptive immunity. Adaptive immunity means specific immunity. You got that virus and you got that particular protein fraction or whatever from the virus outer surface, and the cell is giving that signals, and then T cell, B cell, they come and they take this information and they produce a complementary structure against that virus, so that any virus come, they will do it. But the problem is the old people and the young people, they don't have the capacity to produce this. So that's why what virus does, the vaccine does the same thing without pathogen. So they produce the antibody. And for that, you need good of nutrition, you need a good physical activity to stop against this kind of infection. And if you have it, you don't need to worry about it.
In simple words, you have to focus on your health, have a good health, exercise, do eat lots of healthy fruits and fruits and vegetables,
Yeah.
and do some yoga and all to keep your
Yoga, physical
body fit, right?
activity, walking,
Exactly,
that
sir.
is the must. Because you see, if you look at the evolution of humanity, the physical activity is there. Because in a what do you call it, prolific time, then that time our generation is mostly hunting, and is a movement was there, and the food is related with movement. So they walked for 7 days for 3 days food, and who could not walk, they died out. So the genes, we got it, the physical activity is there. But now food is coming onto our table, we don't walk, we don't exercise, so there is a mismatch between food and our physiology, and that's why a lot of disease is coming, including cancer
Exactly, sir.
and
Exactly.
stress,
So
etc., obesity, all things coming.
exactly. So the way we were living earlier, that was, I think, the best way for our living. And right now we are just becoming lazy, obese, and all that. You just mentioned that that
Yeah,
doesn't match, right?
yeah, that
All
is
things.
also the good question you pointed out. But also another thing happened, because at that time we had a virus. Is a virus world, it's a micro world. As I said, even we are virus. We have a 57% virus, bacteria, and other fungus all over the body, everywhere. So we are the combination of all these things, and we survive because of this. The question is why you are not infected, because among all these things. Question is not that we're infected. That is not the question. Question is why you're not. We have a system, very unique system
True.
that we developed through evolution. That we should not have any infection and all that, but still it happens. And if you look at the average age people used to survive in Jesus Christ time to there, it was 18. Now it is 65, 67. So we have done this because of good nutrition. We have done this because of antibiotic. We have done this because we understand our body much better. That's why we are surviving today. But for that, we need to also understand more that this geriatric physiology is different, because our bone, because nature wants to keep us as long as it helps nature, because nature is a procreation and continuity. And if it is done after one is 40, 50, they don't care. They just go ahead.
So in simple words, our body is a very mysterious place, right, sir?
Oh
Very
yes, it
mysterious.
is a clever tricks by nature. Is the body, and they're using it to propagate and humanity and any other things to continue. And nature devised so many traps, and we are there.
Yes, sir.
And
Totally,
we
sir.
cannot. But as a human being, we have a brain. Development is there,
Exactly.
and we learn from here and there. That's why we are surviving. But if you look at so nature is a ruthless. In nature, there is no sin, there is no virtue, there is nothing. It's a randomness, and completely they don't care. Nature doesn't care. So, but we have to survive that. We have to understand. For that reason, this sort of program is very important. We have to understand our body, physiology, medicine, environment, etc. So we should not destroy ourselves.
Yeah, totally, sir. Sir, our viewers are going to watch this video again and again because the information and the kind of knowledge that you are giving to us, it's totally priceless, sir. Seriously, it's
Thank you.
priceless. I'm pretty much sure that I'm going to watch this video again and again till I remember. Seriously.
Well, thank you.
So, okay, sir. Coming to the next question, I think this question is very much important for each and everyone right now. So, what are your views on the rise of the COVID-19 outbreak? And do you believe that the world is hiding something?
Yeah, you see, that is a very good question and complicated to answer, because yeah, as of now, there are some confusion. There are several kind of news about the virus itself, because there is a story that virus was man-made, but it is not true. It has the genetic makeup analyzed. It is quietly showing that it is evolved from the nature. But the question is whether it has been leaked from the laboratory intentionally or purposefully, that we don't know. But virus cannot go by air. It has to have a host. So some human beings carrying this here and there and doing this. And question is, because of problems and the country's sovereignty, we cannot be sure that how it is leaked. But definitely, it is naturally created, and then it has been leaked to the world by, we don't know that part, but it is not human created stuff as far as we know as of today, because of the genome sequence is showing that it is from nature thing. As I mentioned, that there are a lot of viruses are waiting for to change and mutate, come from the animal to us, and it will come
Exactly.
with a different kind of intensity and different kind of infectivity and symptoms we don't know. And the second thing is that because if happens in a world, in a democratic and transparent country, then probably we'll have known why it happened, how it happens. But because of nature of the every country has their own way of administering the people and science, so it is very difficult to know. But it has been leaked from the laboratory in one, that is for sure. But we don't know whether the mode of leaking, whether it is deliberately done or it is just simple leaking there.
So
Because
the
generally in
origin of
sort of that we have a work in negative pressure. That means the pressure is coming, the environment is coming and not get out. But the virus, it can go, but as long as it doesn't have host, it cannot survive very long. So that is the
so
problem.
the origin. I think the origin of coronavirus would be included in the books of conspiracies, right, sir?
You see, the conspiracy theories are there plenty, and it was initially much more than today. But today we can, based on two conspiracy theory. One is that it is leaked from the laboratory in there, but how it is leaked and motive behind it, we have no clue.
True, sir.
But
Exactly, sir.
one thing is sure, it is not man created. But there is
That's a very
something.
important. That's Yes, sir.
Sorry.
That's a very important information for all the viewers. Please note down that
Yeah.
the virus was not man-made. Okay,
No, it is not.
exactly.
As far
Okay,
as
sir. Thank you so much for
as of today,
that
science
is
is changing all the time. But as of today, it is true.
exactly, sir. That's a very important information for all of us. That's very important, seriously.
Right.
Okay, sir. Now coming to the next question.
Yeah.
Is the world divided into developed, developing, and underdeveloped, or some sort of new world order when it comes to vaccine equality?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is true. Actually, Western world, every second one person is vaccinated, and some country is still not vaccinated. Of course, the one of the important player in capitalism is a pharmaceutical industry, and they based on the patent and the development, and it involves so much cost and all these things. So that means they don't want to give you the know-how, and also they may not have that big capacity like our India has in order to have a large scale production of the vaccine, because this sort of problems, vaccination of the world is quite unique and unprecedented. We don't know. Before it was a smallpox, Ebola epidemic is a local area. Is not any country can do, and India, is very proudly did it. And especially for the children vaccine, all made in India, and large and the adult vaccine, a lot of 50% are made in India. But this is a very unique situation because the technology is not the development of the vaccine is not India. It is different company in the Western world. They made it and they gave India to produce it, and India has to give the patent cost, etc., and all this. But in doing that, that the Western world is getting the benefit of the vaccine. But unfortunately, the divide is still there, and a lot of countries are trying to negotiate with the first world leaders that they should give the patent right to all the countries they can produce the vaccine. But at the moment, US, UK, and EU, they are not interested in it. And if it continues like this, then it's a big problem. It will be a problem. But of course, India itself producing their own vaccine, Covaxin, the old style technology, Russia, China, and all this. So at the moment, the division is quite big, but I think with time it will go, and it depends on the UN, World Health Organization, and the big governments like America, EU, and British, and others. They come together, and the discussion is going on. But at present, the situation is not that good.
And adding one thing into it, how can we build effective strategies for the low-income nation to deal with all this pandemic current situation?
Yeah, you're talking about to fight the pandemic.
Yes,
Or
sir. The low-income nation, like African nations and South
yeah,
Asian nations,
yeah,
which
yeah.
are
It is, Africa is a very unfortunate country. They are having a lot of problems, epidemic before Ebola virus, even SARS also there, and Middle Eastern SARS, and all sorts of things. But the most important element fighting bacteria, virus infection is immunity, body immunity, and no comorbidity. And that is possible if we have a good practice of hygiene and follow the rules, and also good nutrition. That is very important. We now know which sort of food and nutrition helps you, because to build up the good immunity, that is more important. And second thing is, of course, the social distancing and trying to save the business and economic impact, but at the same time protecting the people. And protecting people means kind of giving less host to the virus, so that it does not get spread too much. That means you have to follow the distance policy, mask, etc. And at the same time, make sure the proper food and nutrition is there, no malnutrition, etc., that compromise our immune system. That is important. So if we, and the government policy should be the more resources to come to the poor people, so they can have a good food and good practicing the hygiene, water, and also, of course, the mask should be freely available, and proper training. Education does not give always the good follow-up, that they're following the rules and regulation. So that sort of should be there. And most importantly, because you cannot give vaccine at the moment, so it's important that they should understand what sort of food they should help. Like innate immunity is very important. For that, they should go for zinc, vitamin C, and containing foods, and also omega-3, and as I said, bacteria, yogurt bacteria. These sort of things are very important. And I'm giving lecture to them how to improve this the immunity. And this is the only way at the moment, unless we get a alternative vaccines to the people.
Exactly, sir. African countries are very much unfortunate, as you just said. They are very much low in income capacity, and sadly, this wave of coronavirus has totally, feel some very sorry for all those people who are living in that country. But somehow they will manage. We will contribute something to the
Yeah,
development of those
yeah.
nations.
Yeah, for example, if you look at sometimes it is a not liability. Like you say, for example, thalassemia, is a big problem, and for the thalassemia they survive the mosquito malaria, because very interesting. This the malaria, the protozoa of what is cannot survive in the blood because of thalassemia. Because thalassemia blood only for a few days or not 3 months, so they cannot propagate. That's why you will find most of the thalassemia gene defect is concentrated in Africa, because they survive mosquito malaria. So it is sometimes evolution helps, sometimes it's a problem.
Yeah,
Or the
as we
opposite.
said, as you just told earlier, that the human body is a very clever and mysterious place. So
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
always
Because we are not our controller. It's a
exactly.
57% we host completely. There, the number is billions of billions. They are there, and they are on our body. We don't see them, but
What,
but
what
we can
millions of things are going inside our body, and we haven't
inside,
imagined this.
outside, everywhere. Yes, in the large intestine, you have a 2 kilos of bacteria, 2 kilograms, and they are very good. They are friend. They help us, and they're producing
Exactly.
vitamins, a lot of compounds in the body, tuning the body, your mood. Food can change your mood through them, actually, bacteria. the gut feeling. They also control the
Exactly.
nerve impulse, vagus nerves, and the tuning brain, blood pressure, diabetes, everything controlled by them. So the food you take is very important because they should need also food. You don't think about your own way of looking at the food is interesting and tasty. You have to look the food of the billions of people on in your body. That is, you have to use unrefined food, the whole fruits and more lot of fibers, and those things are not digested, are not absorbed in the body, but they remain in the intestine, large, goes to large intestine. Then these bacteria ferment, and they help us in not to have a cancer, in colon cancer, etc., etc. Plus, mood, as you can find out any literature, how important these microbes we call microbiome in our body, and very
That's
important.
why, guys. That's why, guys. Our parents have always recommended us to go for healthy foods, not go for junk foods.
Yeah,
Please do
exactly.
remember all those things that us.
Yeah, it is. And also very important, don't take antibiotic willy-nilly. Don't take medicine because if you come to this, you will find very few prescription medicine here. But in India, you get a huge list, and they're destroying our body flora. And we are
Exactly. So
producing other
exactly
diseases.
what happened? What happened in the black fungus, right? After taking all those steroids and all.
Yeah. Steroid is a dangerous, they down-regulate immune system because of this virus producing uh, millions of cytokines. Is a riot going on, and we are producing our body's kill, and that's why we give steroid. And steroid you dampen the immune system. Then all the bacteria, virus, fungus come into the system. Because as I said, millions of billions we're living inside and outside with this. We are just 43%. You have to remember that.
43 is a very crucial number. Everybody,
Yeah,
please do remember.
yeah, that
Not
is
even
true.
the half of your body is yours. Not even
No,
the
no, not
half.
yours. No. We are hybrid, completely hybrid. And
Exactly, sir.
whatever we do in terms lifestyle, activity, physical interaction, you have to think about 57% also.
Totally, sir. So, coming to the next question quickly, sir. What are the views on vaccine technology transfer between companies and countries?
Yeah, again, this is the same problem with the patent. The companies
Yeah.
because they invested a lot and they are a shareholder with the companies, so they make sure they get the profit, etc., etc. And as you know, before the pandemic, the vaccine issue is a very stable issue. Against smallpox, Ebola, and for the kid babies are born, there are 5, 6 kind of things there. It is not massive like this. So it is a massive industry now, and it will continue like this, fortunately or unfortunately. So they are the people, they invested, and the big company, they say big money is there, whoever it is, and they don't want to give this technology to even their own country's government because the industry are private. So they should come out with some kind of formula that the poor countries should get it without giving much patent fees, and they should get it. And those who can afford to have, they should get, because you need also investment. Your first question was very important: science, innovation, and technology. If there is no innovation, no GDP. If there is no innovation, no development. And no innovation is only possible if you give incentive to the company and the people involved. So that's why we have to maintain this kind of flow. That means we have a proper investment. Invention is protected, and the company can benefit. At the same time, it is helpful to the humanity. So we should have a balance. There cannot be zero, because then how company and people job will be surviving. At the same time, the country's government could buy it and then give it to the people free. And so maybe nationalization of this company and this sort of, because this pandemic, it is not the end of this life. It will come again and again. So every government of the world should think of at least this part, the vaccine development. They should their own laboratory, government like DRDO in India and etc. How they can develop and for future kind of pandemic.
Yes, sir. Totally agreed, sir. This information that you shared with all of us, it's very much important for consideration. I think for each and every person who watched this video, do note that this is a way we have to live. We have to adopt certain things, and as sir just told that your body is not yours, so you have to do all those things, which is very much favorable to you, your society, and the people who loves you around. So be focused on your body. Do something which is very much favorable to your body. And sir, I know you have a very busy schedule, but I have only one last question for you. So the question is, what messages do you have for the people who are getting infected with COVID-19, and some people who are, they realize that they are having some issues in their body, but despite of that, they don't go for testing because they have a fear that if they would be quarantined or something like that, they will be totally isolated. And because of realizing the consequences, they are taking any medicines. So what tips can you give to all of them?
Okay. First thing, good question. First thing I would say, there is no medicine for COVID-19. Only one medicine, remdesivir, has been approved, but it is only if somebody is hospitalized and under severe conditions. That is, otherwise, no medicine. So if somebody thinks that he or she is infected, it could be cold virus, it could be COVID. There is a kind of confusion could be there, but there is some differences between these two. That means somebody might lose the taste and smell, but this can also happen if somebody is infected by cold virus. So, but ultimately after 2-3 days, even with fever, the most important thing, they can take paracetamol type of things, non-steroidal things, and to damp down the temperature and feel better, and drink a lot of water, etc. But if it continues and it goes to like a problem with the breathing things, and then obviously that it needs a very good medical attention. Of course, the oxygen is good enough, and then if it is there, then he or she can be better off. Don't worry about it. But if it is those who have a comorbidity and immune system is compromised because of taking of medicine or steroid, because of other reasons, they could face some problems, and then obviously they have to go there. But other than that, it is there is no medicine for COVID-19, and if that medicine I talked about, and this, that should be supervised by the doctor. Is no point to buy this medicine and store in the house. You are depriving other serious patient. You have to remember that. So this is one thing, and as I mentioned, the most important thing is keep your body fit. Keep the good nutrition in your system, in the diet, and also good physical activity. If you have it, then you don't need to worry about it. It is like any other infection. Only thing is that if somebody has some other disease like lung disorder or smoking lot or no physical activity or obese, they have to worry about a little bit because of their health is not normal or healthy. So in that case, then you have to take care of your body, go for exercise, go for good food. And what is the good food? That is a good question, because I thought, because I also work in nutrition area, I should give some
Yes, sir.
advice. This is for your
Exactly, sir.
audience, is very important. Because as I mentioned, that when anything comes into our system, we have a two different way of attacking this. One is innate immunity, other is adaptive immunity. Innate immunity is also like skin, hairs, mucus, pH, stomach. These all attacking the pathogen. And if it fails, then it will go to the tissue, and tissue will try to attack that. And as I mentioned, part of this pathogen, it will put onto its membrane and ask for help. And if it cannot do much more, then it will ask for suicide. They kill me, that it they cannot go to the neighbor cell. And that is innate immunity. And this thing happen if you have a very good nutrition, then virus will go from there. It cannot multiply or go other situation. If that part is failed, then it will go to the next step. Then it's called adaptive immunity. It will ask for regimented cell, etc., and then it will give that information of the pathogen, and it will process and produce antibody. And that part, the same as vaccine does, as pathogen. If we have a infected, we'll do it ourselves, the naturally. And for these two things, you need a good source of nutrition. One is you should have a lot of vitamin C. Vitamin D is a very deficit in India because we are color sensitive, so we don't go to sun. But every day, half an hour sunshine is very important so that we get enough vitamin D. Otherwise, you can have vitamin D from milk and egg, or you can take a supplement. And vitamin C you can get from fresh fruit, not from juice, because when you make a juice, vitamin C get oxidized. So its chemistry is changed. So that is important. Then you should have a omega-3 fatty acid. That is fatty acid present in seafood, also in mustard oil, and also urad dal. And spinach. Try to get those things. And then you should have a zinc. Zinc generally shellfish, and some lentils has zinc. And also you should have copper. Copper is very important. Is being used in Indian Hindu temple everywhere. Copper vase, and there is no contamination of the amrita. What do you call it? That water, you amrita. You can keep for years.
Right.
Copper kills virus, bacteria, right? Anything. So any surface has copper. They are very good. So cook and keep food in copper, and then it will be protected. So these sort of things, and also you should have onions. If you are not eating onion, then you try to eat onions. If you are a vegetarian problem, then you eat more fruits and vegetables. Like there are some polyphenols which protect from you, bacteria, virus from you, and some of the polyphenol, they stop the replication of the virus, because it is a very simple thing. When virus goes in our body, they take over the system, they produce their protein in billions or thousands or whatever, then attack others, goes on. And our body is trying to fight it. And if we do too much fight, we produce cytokine storms. And cytokine storm means that is happening with the patient with the severely affected. And these cytokines is a small protein molecules. It is a kind of riot. It is also damaging our body. So even after recovery, our lungs are affected, brain is affected, a lot of things because of cytokine. That's why doctor gives steroid to stop this inflammation. So we don't need to go that far. As long as we have a physical activity, good food, and if you take these sort of things and not too much fatty food and fast food, then you should be okay, no problem.
Okay, so in simple manner, whatever the things that sir have mentioned, please note down in your in your daily book, and do follow all those things, because if you want to live a healthy life, then you have to follow all those things. And getting an advice from such an eminent personality, it matters a lot. Trust me, it matters a lot. So I'm going to follow all those things that you just told us, sir, for sure. And definitely you will see a change in me when I will be meeting you in person, when I will be in Norway at some time. So I think, sir, the information and whatever the insights, the beautiful insights, I would regard it as beautiful and informative insights you have just shared with us, will be in our hearts and will be on in our brain also for a long time, sir. So thank you so much. I know, sir, you are having a busy schedule, but thank you so much for giving your time, sir. I'm very much honored to be with you today, sir. You can just imagine, you can just sense my feelings that what I want to see. So thank you so much, sir, for this.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm also very pleased and privileged to meet you and talk to you and give my whatever knowledge I have in this field. And obviously in future, I will also be with you anyhow. And when you visit us, I will meet again here.
Yes, sir. Totally, sir. Totally, sir. Physically, we will meet physically.
And in the meantime, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And have a nice day.
Yes, sir. I wish you get lots of success in your life. And you should be healthy, sir. I can't be suggesting you, because you are following all those nutritional things for a long time. But yes, sir. Blessings from my heart to you, sir. Be healthy, sir, and stay protected from COVID-19.
Thank you, and a lot of love from me, and all the best wishes to you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye-bye, sir. Take care, sir.